start again. I'll just start recording. Okay. Welcome back. I think I hope everyone is back.
Yes,
So
sir.
okay, great. So this is one thing that I missed talking about in the last session, and after this we'll move on to uh, looking into a foundation and looking at some samples and all those things. So yeah, so this is like uh, a list of like a representation of what uh, is the potential of AR specifically with respect to mobile devices and how it is increasing and where are we right now. Okay, so if you see, AR kit devices would basically mean iOS devices. So iOS devices, as you can see, are increasing every year, obviously. Uh, and then, but like there are 1,250 million AR devices in uh, 2021. However, Blue is 2021, right? Yeah, Blue is 2021. The users for AR are only 192 million out of that. So like look at the gap that is there. So like one of the most common reasons for this gap is like there are not a lot of applications right now that are available that are useful for a user in day-to-day life. Very limited applications are there, and they are more focused towards gaming or entertainment, but not a lot towards how a user's life can be benefited. So now we are moving towards that. But if you see here, surprisingly, in 2022, this number has dropped even more. So ARKit users have dropped even more. However, that is not the case for Android. So AR core users have increased. So obviously, I don't know the reason behind this. We can look into it. It's something to explore for you guys. But this is like, if you can see a general trend that AR core devices are also increasing, AR core users are also increasing. But again, the gap that you see between active users and the actual devices that are there is uh, mostly is like highly because basically you don't have the ability right now for a user to come back to use your app every day. So like entertainment apps like Pokemon Go or some other games that are available, they were used when there was a hype around them. Now they are not used anymore. So that is why this is something to concern. And then AR consumers, I don't know. So general, okay, so active mobile AR consumers, this would basically also include, I think, things like Snapchat or Instagram filters, those kind of things. So AR consumers basically is like they're also increasing generally. So yeah, so these are some numbers to look into, and obviously there are more like a lot of different statistics available around AR and VR, which you can read upon. So like a general awareness of what is going on in the current market, what is the prediction about these technologies for the future, what are the trends that have taken place in the last 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. Like comparatively, these technologies are very new, so you won't find a lot of trends going back that far, but you might find some good studies in the recent years at least. So yeah, so this is something that I just wanted to point out, and then now we can move on to this. So before we move on to the actual project that we'll be implementing in AR, we would look into these some demos that are provided by Unity to actually go through some of the basic things, like just understand some concepts, right? So they are available at these links, which are hosted at GitHub. So there are two repositories that are there. One is uh, this thing, AR Foundation samples, and one is an archived repository, AR Foundation demos. So AR Foundation samples have a lot of uh, uh, things in it. I'll just go through it. But as you can see that here, I've opened up the branch 4.2. Why that is because they have mentioned which branch you should use for which version of Unity that you're using. So right now we are on 2021.3. So that's why I'm using 4.2. But if you go to main branch, that also is basically like main branch also has more updates as well after this as well. So you can look into that as well. I think they have for 2022 as well. So 5.0 is also available now. So there can be some different things available in 5.0 which you can try out on your own as well. So coming back to this, so this is what we'll explore properly a bit. Then there's AI Foundation demos, which is an older kind of an older version of the same thing. But this thing I just want to show you here would be the UX. So like UI UX is a very important part of mobile applications or any applications for that matter, but especially for mobile applications because you want your user to understand uh, very straightforward what he has to do with, like when he opens your application, he has a phone in his hand, what he has to do next to basically implement or use your application. So I'll just show you one small application that this has. We'll maybe go through it once, but this is what we'll mostly focus on because this is a newer version of the same thing. But this does not have UX because the examples that are present there are there. So what are the things that are there in this? And now let's open it up as well. So let me open Unity. Yeah, so I have AR Foundation samples already there. I just cloned the repository and I have this. So just opening. So yeah, so this is the right now we are not going through or not, or we are not concerned on about how to set up the development environment, how would we build, how would we're just basically taking a taste of what AR in mobile devices would look like, what all things can we do, what are some things that are very straightforward, right? Like quickly we can implement, what are those things? So generally, when you would have set up the environment, you will have this thing show up, XR would show up here. And when you set up AR Foundation, you will have so many options like these, right? So depending upon what packages you have set up, you will get different options. You'll get some options, you'll not get some options. So right now it seems like AR Foundation has been set up, AR core might have been set up, and these comes from XR interaction package. So that is set up. We can look into that as well. Like let's have a look at what are the packages that are there in this sample project. Till that is loading. So these are some of the projects, some of the scenes in a sense that are present here. Simple AR, check support, light estimation, anchors, scale, CPU images, right? So we go through some of these and we see what it does and what it means basically. Yeah. So as you can see, AR kit is set up, AR foundation is there. Then we have XR interaction toolkit. We have XR plugin management has to be there. Uh, we must also have AR foundation. So AR foundation is there, AR core is there. So all the packages that are required in general for setting up this project. So this basically, I think they have included AR kit as well as AR core both, so that it works on for Mac as well as Windows, or like for Android as well as iOS. Right now we'll be using AR core only. So all you need to do once you download this sample project is go to your file settings, build settings. And if you can see here, the build settings have already set up the scenes that you are supposed to build. So you can see so many scenes are there. right? All you need to do is just build, and you can just build an APK. So you can either build it here, or you can uh, build and run to your device directly, which if your device is connected, it will show up uh, here, which I do not have. I do not have because I have already built, and I'll share my device and show you like this. Okay. So just a second. So we'll start with, we'll try to see it side by side. Uh, this is the AR foundation. So the very first thing is that once you open it, as you can see, the background is the camera uh, of the phone. So the very first thing that you can do is you can do check support. Is basically going to just check if your device supports AR or not. So as you can see on the top right over here, it basically writes that your device uh, supports AR and it is starting an AR session. And as I said, that we look into point clouds and creation of point cloud as well as this plane basically. So this is what is that thing. So it is basically detecting points where like features are there, and then it is creating a plane based on those points. So as you can see, where objects are there the points are more in number. Where the objects are not there, where it's just a plane, the points are either completely not there or very limited in number. So like it has already created a plane here, that is why no points are showing up, but generally it will show points as well, right? So as you can see, if I point to the floor also, eventually it will create a plane, complete plane. So we'll come back to setting this up as well. So now let's see what it is actually doing in setting up this thing, right? So we basically checked for check support right now. So let's go and see what check support has. So if you go in your simple like scenes folder of the uh, AR sample AR foundation samples project, you can find all these things, right? And then check support should be somewhere here. I'll search for it. I think that'll be easier. So check support is present outside only. So this is the check support scene. Let's try to understand what is available here. What are the basic things that are available here? So this is in Canvas. This is something that we have seen, we know about. This is nothing new for us. There's a there are a few things inside the canvas. So there's a text log text, which is basically what was logging the text that was coming here. If you remember, like when we were doing this log text is what this thing is showing, is coming here. This is again an image, install AR software. It would come up if you, so I might have already installed the AR core support that is required, I think. Let me check. I can show you that as well. Yeah, so, oh, sorry. So this is something that you will install, Google Play services for AR. So this is something that basically, if you do not have this installed, this thing would show up as far as I can tell. And then there's a button manager, which is basically when we click on the return button, this is for that return button, right? So this is the canvas that we're working with. And then what is the event system? Also, we know this is basically for handling the interactions, UI and everything. So, but what are the major parts? So AR session is a new thing. Check support is like basically it's just uh, like a this script is attached here, support checker script. So we can look into this, what it is doing. AR session is new to us. So this is something that we have not seen before, and XR origin is something that is new, right? So what is XR origin and AR session do? So AR session is basically like AR session is going to instantiate the AR session in a sense on your devices. So this would like it has position and rotation tracking or rotation tracking only, or don't track as well. So this is something that you'll start with. So AR session is going to be there in any scene that you want AR to be implemented in. Then check support is just basically this is the script that was actually doing all the work here. So let's look into this script. And then XR origin also was doing this work of uh, implementing that thing, like the point cloud and the planes, like the points that were coming and the plane that was being built done through the XR origin, which also we'll have a look at just after this. So this is our script for the support checker. So if you can see, this is basically check support function is there, which is basically checking for AR support, and then if AR session dot state equals to AR session state needs install, then it will, like, this is like with the AR session would basically check if your device is capable of AR or not, if your device has AR core installed or not. So this is the whole logic for that. Okay. So obviously, if you want, you can use this when you're building your apps. If you want to check, like if you, let's say, when the user first logs in, you need to check it there itself, right? If the user can actually use your app or not. So this is a logic, like a sample logic, which you can use there. Like the first thing that you need to check, if the AR session state, like with the AR core that we just saw, the AR code support for Google Play, is that installed or not. So this is what it'll say in that case. And obviously you can build whatever you want to build on your own. And then if it is ready, then it'll say your device supports AR. If it does not support, then what it needs to say and what has to happen, all these things. So very straightforward, I think. Installing also would just like take you to the install and right install it for you. So yeah. So set install button active. When this install button will be activated, then what happens on the, what is it actually installing also we can check in this. We can try to see what is happening in the install button. So it is on install button press only. So on install button, so it is starting this coroutine of install coroutine is being called, and it is basically checking and installing the AR session dot install. This is what is happening. So we can see what is it trying to install as well, right? So yeah, so this is something that basically like this is AR session that is there. So what all things AR session provides is also here, which we can look into. It's not required at the moment. So basically, yeah, so to understand what we are doing is basically we are we are checking if your device supports it or not. If your device supports and software is not available, then it will install the software. If your device does not support, it will give you that message. If your device supports and software is installed, and then it will give you a go ahead message. Then let's look at XR origin. So XR origin is implementing a few things. XR origin has the script attached, which is basically has a origin based camera floor offset, uh, camera game object. So these things are available here inside XR origin itself. So camera offset is there, main camera is there. So this left hand controller, right hand controller is the concept of VR. So you'll have two controllers there, right? So that is where this concept comes from. But this can be used here as well. So we are basically then using a plane manager and a point cloud manager. So what does a plane manager do? Let's look into that. So plane manager is a script that is basically generating your planes, and the point cloud manager is generating the point cloud. And then we have also in this, basically, you can obviously look into the script and try to understand what is happening, what it is doing, but you can just uh, like understand that this is what it is supposed to do. It is supposed to have these many methods. It can track vertical or horizontal planes or all planes, so that we can do. And then what kind of a prefab should it instantiate? So this is the prefab that it is instantiating when basically it is finding a plane or not finding a plane, right? So if the plane has been found, this is the prefab that it is instantiating. And if the similarly for the point cloud, so if the point cloud is found, this is the point, it's just a particle effect. So it won't be able to see this, like, so it was a very tiny yellow dot, so that it was installed in instantiating. So that's all. So this is about XR origin and what it is doing. So now let's look into some more things, some more samples here. So let's return and let's look into simple AR now. So simple AR is going to be the same thing as that thing only. So let's open the scene for simple AR as well. Okay, so this is what we have in our scene. So we have a pause, resume, reset, everything. So I clicked on reset, and as you can see, it's starting to create the points and the plane for us. So this is just an implementation of the XR origin in a sense, right? It's just doing that. So I'm able to create points, and I think I can instantiate objects as well. So yeah, so this is the other thing which it is doing. So once the plane is created, when I tap on the screen, it is also instantiating objects. So wherever I tap on the screen, that is where our objects are instantiated. Okay. Now let's look into what's happening here. So canvas, I don't think we need to go through this, very straightforward. XR origin now has a few more things. So we have plane manager, point manager as is, but now we also have a raycast manager as well, and place on plane manager as place on plane as well, which is a script that it is doing. Uh, that is there. Let's see what is place on plane doing. So place on plane is basically uh, referring, like, getting the raycast manager, and it is basically checking if the raycast manager raycasts on the touch position, if there is like something there. So this will return raycast hits are sorted by distance. So the first one will be the closed hit. So like if there's a plane there, and like let's say there are multiple planes that have been instantiated. So the raycast hits, like the variable hits that is there, it's s underscore hits. So if you remember, we created hit variable when we were creating raycast for shooting. So that same concept is implemented here, which is basically if raycasting is hitting something, then let's say there are two planes that are here, then it will give you the first plane that is there, and on that the object is instantiated. And obviously we can look into Raycast Manager as well, which is like an AR Raycast Manager, which is this script AR Raycast Manager, which is like implementing some different functions. But again, if you want, you can look into this. If you want, you can understand what it is doing by reading the documentation and all those things, and uses as per your use case. for prototyping and stuff. But let's say you want to develop something which is very important to you, which is very specific to something that you want to build. So then in that case, you don't need to go through this like the provided set of setup. You can go through uh, like separate like you can create your own Raycast Manager, Point Cloud Manager, Plane Manager, everything you can create on your own because they are just scripts, right? So yeah, so this is the basic of this. Just again, once more, if you place cubes, this is how it is going to be placed. Yeah, so that's all. And then let's return and let's see what else we can do. So there's interaction. Let's see what interaction does. So interaction is also just spawning. Interaction is spawning multiple cubes. So it's not forgetting the last cube. It is same as what we were doing before, but it is spawning multiple cubes. So as you can see, my device is not able to create proper planes for some reason. But yeah, so this is what interaction is doing, and obviously we can go ahead and check interaction as well. So interaction scene has AR manager, Raycast manager. Don't know where the not sure where they are instantiating the objects, must be somewhere. So yeah, so this is something. Then let's see the documentation of some of these things. So we've gone through simple AR, which is basically a good starting point, as it says, which is point cloud visualization and plane detection. There are buttons on screen that let you play, pause, resume, and reset. This is what we tried. So when a plane is detected, you can tap on that detected plane to place a cube on it. So this is, we saw the code, how it is being done, how it is using the AR Raycast Manager to perform a raycast against the plane. We tried this. We tried interaction. It is written here. Otherwise, we'll try some other things now. Okay, so I think interaction was something random then. No worries. Then let's see what else we can try. So next thing that we can try is face tracking, I think. So let's go with face tracking. AR core face, I think AR core face regions would be a face mesh. So yeah, so face tracking has a few different options. Let me share my phone. So face tracking would have a few different options that are available to me in AR in an Android device for an AR core. So we have face regions, face mesh, face pose, and rear camera. So rear camera is basically we'll use rear camera, but for face region, face mesh, and face pose, we'll use the front camera. So let's try that. So let's see if I'm doing face pose. It's basically like wherever I'm rotating, it's trying to estimate where I'm seeing and that thing, right? And it is generating a like the accesses that are there. So let's see face pose only first. So face pose has a AR face manager, and it is just in implementing a face prefab, this thing on the face. And then let's go to, so obviously again, the script is available to us by default from Unity, and we can look into how this is being implemented. What are the subsystems that Unity's AR Foundation is using from AR Core or AR Kit to actually generate this kind of a mapping? Like how is it generating this, detecting what feature is it detecting, right? So we can look into that, but that abstraction is provided to us. So Next, let's look into face regions. So face regions mean it's basically taking 3 points instead of 1 point. So there are 2 points above the eyes and 1 point on the nose. So generally, if you've seen face tracking or facial tracking, it will generally the regions that a face tracking software kind of does it takes is this region, and then this region for like defining a face of a person. So we can look into face regions. So this has a separate so this is using Face Manager and then also has a separate uh, script for uh, this thing for Face Region Manager. So if you want, you can look into again what kind of features are being detected here. Then let's look into the last thing that is available to us in face tracking, which is the face mesh. So this is what's available in face mesh. This is like just basically your filter that's available, right? So as you can see here, I think we have AR face manager is there, and then there is a display face as well. So AR face mesh prefab. This prefab is basically being displayed on top right. I think the mesh is somewhere else, or maybe the mesh is being generated at runtime. Yeah, I think it is generating this like from this mesh, it is generating this at runtime, right? So this is the like if you see, this is what I'm seeing, what is coming on my face, these colors, red, blue, and white, right? So we in this again we have AR face manager and AR input manager is also there. And then this thing is there, a display face info thing. So this display face info is basically displaying the information on top here, which we are not able to read properly. So basically it's saying supported number of tracked faces, max number of faces to track, number of tracked faces. Right now it's 0. When I am able to track my face, then if you're able to see, this becomes 1. Requested camera direction, current camera direction, uh, requested tracking mode, current tracking mode. So all those things, it's basically just displaying information. So this script is what displaying information. And then the main thing is happening in the AR face manager itself, right? So this is again one of the applications. Then let's go back and let's see what else is there. See anchors is doing anything. So yeah, so anchors is basically if uh, pointing like this. So this is let me open the script for this. Anchors. So what anchors is doing is basically it is creating anchors, and anchor is using an AR anchor manager. And if we go to this, we can understand more on what anchors exactly we are able to do here, what kind of anchors we are able to do in AR4. It is a feature. Uh, if a feature point is it creates a normal anchor at the close method. If a plane is it creates an anchor attached to the plane. So basically, it's just creating anchors at either a feature point or a plane, and that will basically remain there. So if I'm coming back to this, it's still remaining there, and I can move around, and as my separate planes are created, I can add more anchor points to those planes. Right. So these again, these anchors, we have added a lot of anchors. So if you see this this thing, it is creating anchor attachment. So I think there must be a way for us to like save these anchor attachment and like the thing that we talked about. No, please excuse me, just a second. So the thing that we talked about with respect to cloud anchors, this would help us in implementing the cloud anchors, and like this is the first step towards doing that, location based anchors, things like that, right? So this is there. Then uh, image tracking, let's see if we have. So image tracking would be your marker based AR, and let's see if we have the images that we have set up here. So let's see. So reference image library. So these are the images that are set up, and let's open these images up and see what it is doing. So let's try with basic image tracking. So yeah, so it is basically okay. So all that has been done is basically in front of the digital image or the like the printed, like if you have a printed image here, so this it's basically spawning that image as well as like information regarding that image. So it's tracking state limited, reference size, detected size, all those things basically it is saying, right? So as you can see, reference size is exactly the same as the detected size, but let's say I zoom out a bit, then uh, let me go back here. Currently still the same. Yeah, now as you can see, oh, you can't see, sorry. I'll change. So you can see that this thing has changed from 16.89 is the reference size and 16.93 is the detected size. So this is also, it's able to detect. And let's have a look at some other reference images as well. So there's a QR code as well that can be used as a reference image. So I'll try to keep this. Oh, did I close the phone thing? No, I didn't close the phone thing. I'll change this to here. Here. Yeah, so this QR image is basically there's just information on top of this QR image as well, right? And one last image. Not able to detect properly right now. Or maybe this image was not there in our instance. So this is the instance that we have. T was the, so this image was also there. Let me try this and close the phone. So this image also basically some information coming on top of the image. So this is what was implemented in image tracking. I think we can go back, see image tracking with multiple prefabs. Yeah, so this is basically like instantiating. Oh, sorry, you're not seeing. So if I go back to this, if I use like there were two options here, basic image tracking and image tracking with multiple prefabs. So if I click on image tracking with multiple prefabs, then it is basically instantiating something on top of the images that are there. So the other image was this one. right? So on top of this image also some prefabs are being instantiated, if you can see here. So let's see how this is implemented. Basically, we have a AR tracked image manager. This is a script that is provided to us in open in AR Foundation. And then basically we define a library of images. So if you see, this is the reference image library. And in this library, all we have done is added images, right? So we can add QR, we have added images, we have defined the physical size of the images, and do we want to keep texture at runtime or not? So this is what we define here. And then based on this AR tracked image manager, this prefab image pair manager is basically generating these prefabs, right? That's all it's doing. So I think uh, like what specifically is happening, you can look at on your own. And this is basically marker based AR. So till now, whatever we are seeing, the creation of planes and everything else, anchors, all those things were markerless AR, and this was marker based AR. So let's see if there's anything else that we can try in this. Image tracking is done. Object tracking is not available to me in my device, but if you have it available, when you try it out, when you build for yourself, try it out and see if it is available for you. Okay. And then we have uh, point cloud, which we already saw. Depth is basic. Yeah, so I think we've gone through almost everything that is available here. Uh, and these some features like human body tracking, depth images, these features, meshing, these are features which are specific to uh, AR kit, so specific to iOS. So if you have an iOS device, please do try these things out. Build for your iOS system. It's a very straightforward process, and these are some things that you can try out. So this was about AR samples. Then moving on to AR, in this AR samples itself, if you look at where they have mentioned UX, so they refer to check out the AR Foundations demo itself, right? So that is why we'll be using this one for just testing out the UX. So I'll not open I have the repository, but I'll just show it to you on my phone for now so that we have an idea of what is to be done in this, and that's it. So this is something that basically is UX, right? So it's kind of telling you what you need to do. So it's asking you to turn your phone slowly, and now it is telling you to tap to place AR. And you see like the difference between how the planes were there and how the planes are in this environment. So you can see it looks more beautiful. The point cloud that is being generated is more nicer in this environment, right? And also, if you see this thing, like why is this image a good image for uh, marker-based AR? So when I point to this image, a lot of point clouds are generated, which are generally not the case in any like plane surfaces, right? So that is why it is a good. And if I like now in my generated plane, if I tap, then I'll be able to place an object. So that's all that is there in this thing. So I'll just do this once more so that I have a more better idea. AR demos. This again is a project, Unity project that is straightforward available. So like, let's see when it starts, it says wait for being tracking, and it asks you to move the device slowly. Once it has generated enough plane, and it asks you to place the prefab. As you can see, it is placing and it is providing shadows and everything as well, right? So yeah, so that's it about this. And there are like for different concepts, like when you want to add like a, when you want to do face tracking, then you should use something like this. If you want to do body tracking, then you should do something like this. If you want to do image tracking, then you should use a image like this. So it is basically different concepts that you can use. So this is all from this thing. You should try it out. So these two packages, these two things are readily available for you to try out. And there's no extra setup. Once you download the project, there's nothing that you need to do. Just build it directly and straightforward, just run the apps and try and have fun with it. Try to explore the features while you're having fun with it. Try to understand why a feature is behaving the way it is behaving. Go inside the scripts, try to read those and all those things. Okay, so that was about it. And next, we'll move on to a project that we'll be building. So this is the project that we'll be building, which is like I found this at a Google Code Labs. I'll show that here. So this is like where it is available. So what are the things that we'll try to understand in this project is here. So like we have already seen AR foundations plus samples plus demo. Next, we'll look into how to actually set up the development environment that we've been seeing till now, right? Like, so we have been seeing how this is working. Now we'll actually see how this setup is going to be. What are the different packages that we need to install and all those things. And we'll see this detecting planes and then performing hit tests, all these things in real time. So whatever we saw right now quickly and then all those things, we'll see those with respect to an application, which is this application, which you see on your screen right now, which is basically uh, like a car is being moved wherever you are rotating, like taking the tracker and some object you have to collect. So this is a game that you can create. So something similar to this also you can try it or whatever. So this is something that we'll start with, and I think we'll start with this in the next session. I think we're done for the day. So this is where we'll stop today. If you have any doubts or any questions with regards to whatever we have gone through today, please ask. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. Okay, then. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you